everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, wherever you may be in this lovely Monday. 1 week from today, we all know where we will be. So I know we're all getting very, very excited. So we're happy to have you here this afternoon so we can kind of go through all the details of your Freedom of the Seas that will be leaving for Miami next Monday. So welcome. We'll go over a little bit of an overview here of what we'll be talking about today. And just a quick note, we will be answering questions live at the end of this presentation. Just make sure to put your questions in the Q&A instead of the chat box down at the bottom, and we will answer those at the end. And just a note for those of you who are not listening live, as we will be recording this entire presentation and we'll email it to you tomorrow. If for some reason you have questions that were not answered today, please feel free to email us at info@celiaccruise.com and we will answer those. So here's just a little overview of what we'll be talking about today. Brief introduction, we'll talk about Miami, the general check-in process, embarkation day, general overview of dining on board, amazing CocoCay and what to expect there, general understanding of how the drinks on board work, the beautiful ship of yours, the Freedom of the Seas. We'll do a quick overview of the safety and how we ensure this ship is safe for all of you. And then our events that we'll be running through the week, and then some cruising 101 for those of you who have not cruised before. And we know many of you are joining us for your first cruise, which is very exciting. And lots of questions we've had about attire and what the general evening themes are. So we'll go through that. We'll talk about that sad morning. We all have to get off the ship, but we'll give you all the details of that so you feel at least very prepared, and then our questions and answers. So away we go.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. I want to talk a little bit about Miami. For those of you who are driving or flying, if you're flying into, then Miami or Fort Lauderdale, of course, are the closest two airports, and Royal Caribbean offers transfers to both. It's too late to get an incoming transfer through Royal Caribbean, but if you want to get a transfer from the ship back to the airport, you can do that once on board the ship. Of course, Ubers are plenty in both places. Fort Lauderdale is about 20 minutes further away than Miami, but both of them offer great service in terms of Uber or Lyft. And there's the address for the cruise ship. Everybody in Miami and Fort Lauderdale knows where the Port of Miami terminal is, and when you get there, you'll be able to see the ship as soon as you pull up. We will be sending a gluten-free Miami Fort Lauderdale dining guides, and Maureen has a quick update on that.
Yes, you'll receive an email tomorrow, and we're going to talk about all those details that will be included, but there'll be a lot of information. So just be ready for that. We always provide an onboard dining guide, a list of all of your events, a day-by-day guide, as well as some local places in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. We have a local restaurant that we've worked with the last few years, and they put on some really special offerings for our guests. So if you come in and you say if you're with Celiac Cruise, they may give you a special treat. I'm also waiting to confirm hours, but I'm told they may be extending their Sunday hours for those of you who are arriving. So we'll give you all that information. I'm just, literally as I wait, she's texting me. So I'm going to wait to give you all those specifics, but no, it's coming. And I realized we didn't even say who we were. So that's probably important.
Yes.
So yes, there's my name on the bottom, but my name's Maureen. Celiac Cruise started as a result of many family members of mine who were diagnosed with celiac disease. So we were traveling many years ago on a different cruise line, and we realized pretty quickly how hard navigating this was. Many of you, I'm sure, quite familiar, might be shaking your head. So not only what I realized very quickly with Peter, my son, who was 4 at the time, looking for safe food, but also the feeling of the constant presence of this in your brain, wondering what am I going to eat? What if I don't find something to eat? And what if they say this is safe, but it's really not safe. So all of those things going on in one's brain all of a sudden makes vacation not feel quite like vacation used to. So that was the idea of Celiac Cruise back in 2017. I serendipitously met this other lovely lady here, Connie, in line, actually getting on a cruise. And, she's done amazing things in the travel space for a long time. And I said, what if we found a way to make cruises safe, truly safe, and giving people the chance to be on vacation and connect with their loved ones again, instead of, again, that big part of your brain being completely consumed by what you're going to eat. So that's what this is. I always think it's important for you all to know that this is my family story. I live this every day. So yes, it's personal, and we cannot wait to show you the magic of what Celiac Cruise is next week. So there's a little background.
And it really is magical. I'm Connie, and Maureen and I, when we started this, I didn't really think it would be possible, but we did. And our first cruise was in 2020, and then the world closed down. And then this is our 25th cruise coming up next week. You guys are going to be on our magical 25th cruise. Considering our second cruise was only in March of 22, just think of how far we've all come together. So this has been an incredible journey that just keeps continuing. So welcome to the 25th cruise of Celiac Cruise. So I'll do some logistics, and then Maureen, because she's mostly food and I'm mostly the travel side, we'll kind of split it up by that way. How does that sound? So the check-in process is open. It will close 72 hours before the cruise. So go ahead and do your check-in now, either at royalcaribbean.com or on the app. If you do it on the app, it's a little bit easier. We suggest that you go ahead and use the app and download the app and plan to use it on board the ship, because when you're on board the ship, you can either connect to Royal Caribbean's Wi-Fi and pay, or connect to Royal Caribbean's Wi-Fi for free to use their app. So if you use their app feature, you can even chat amongst others that are on board the cruise as well. So it's a great feature. And the Royal Caribbean app is a great way to check in. You can select your boarding time, but I'm here to say, don't worry about it. You'll see later what time our boarding day lunch is. Just make sure that you get to the port and get on board the ship as early as possible. That's convenient for you. Don't worry if your time is later. Our lunch, there it is from 11:30 to 1:30. So we suggest to get to the pier somewhere before noon, right around 11:30 or noon. Get to the pier, get checked in, get on board, and come to deck 5 and see us at the dining room. So do not worry. See, we put that in bold. Do not worry about what time you get, because honestly, they don't check anymore. You just get right on whenever you get there, or, maybe just a quick line. So Embarkation is crazy. The Independence of the Seas is in Port of Miami. There's the address.
Freedom. Oopsies.
Uh-oh.
Our bad.
Freedom of the
Seas.
Wow.
That's a Maureen error. I'll take it.
That's okay. I proofed it and I didn't find it.
Just, we're human beings, as you all know.
Yes.
So we literally got back from Symphony of the Seas yesterday. So we have been cruising all summer. So we were on the Independence shortly, right before that, went to
Yes.
Symphony, and now we're going to Freedom. So you were sailing on the correct ship. Do not
Yes.
panic. You are sailing on the Freedom. All is well.
Yes. And this is our first time on the Freedom of the Seas. So we're excited. It is a sister ship to the Independence. So I think that's why we both overlook it. But sorry about that. It's Freedom of the Seas. We're going to have lots of freedom on the Freedom. So freedom to eat lots of gluten-free food. So here again, arrive close to your boarding time or right after 11. You can print your luggage tags at home before you go. We'll send you details in your newsletter that's coming. Once again, lunch is from 11:30 to 1:30, deck 5 in the dining room. It's a beautiful sit-down served lunch. So you order from your server, they deliver it to you, and you'll need to show your lunch ticket. That's also coming in the email. You can show it on your phone, you can print it out. If you forget, not to worry, we do know who's in our group and who's not, and we'll have a list, and you can tell us your name and you can get in. Everything that we do is private. So none of our events are in the Royal Caribbean app. So you will see at the Welcome Aboard lunch, we'll have a whiteboard that's going to list everything for that day. And we'll remind you, but we ask you to make a photo of the whiteboard every single day so that you know what all of our private events are, because you won't find them in the app, because you have to be part of our group to be part of anything that we do. Right after lunch, the cabins usually open around 1:30, and they'll make an announcement throughout the whole ship. And you'll go to your cabin, and right outside your cabin door, there's a little place where they can put letters or notes or things to you. And that's where your room key cards will be. So once they make the announcement that the cabins are ready, you go to your cabin, and there you will find your cabin keys. So right after lunch as well, from 1:30 to 4, down on the Studio B, which is on deck 3. So we're going to have lunch on deck 5. You're just going to go down 2 decks and go through Studio B. That's the ice skating rink, if any of you know that. So it'll be nice and cool in that hot Florida sun. We're going to have our welcome aboard reception, where you'll get to try some Holiday beer, just a little sample if you're 21 or over, if you'd like. And then also you'll get all your goodies, your t-shirts, your lanyards, all the wristbands, your credentials, everything that will get you into our events. The other thing that's not on here that I want to make sure that you know is that Royal Caribbean uses Muster Station 2.0. So when you get on board, either go ahead and do your muster station then, or you can do it right after lunch. But you just go to your assigned muster station, check in with the person there, and then leave. There's no more of this standing in line, for 30 minutes and everything closing down. It's really an amazing feature that they have. And so they want everybody to do it as soon as they board. So take a couple of minutes, get that done, and then come on over and have lunch. So boarding day information, if for some reason you don't want to sit down for lunch, it is from 11:30 to 1:30. Remember, you need your lunch ticket. There'll also be Cafe Promenade, which is on the promenade of the ship. It looks like a shopping mall down the center of the ship with restaurants and shops and things like that. And the Cafe Promenade has pre-packaged sandwiches from our dedicated gluten-free galley. So if you just want to grab a sandwich and head up to the pool, you can do that. And Sorrento's Pizza on deck 5, Promenade Midship, will also have dedicated spaces and a dedicated oven for our gluten-free pizzas, which we can talk about the vetting of all that in a little bit. The thing we want to make sure that you know is that dining is at 5 p.m. prompt. So please go ahead and come on down to dinner at 5 p.m. I know it's early, but it's amazing, and we need to get in so we can get out. And because we eat so early, guess what? We have late night snacks from 10 to 11 in the Windjammer. So every night at 10 o'clock, we ask that you show your wristband as you come in, so it'll make the line go faster, and you can come into the Windjammer and have what we lovingly call our 4th meal, because normally on days on the cruise, we get breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night snacks, and they're all 4 meals. Snacks is kind of the wrong word for it, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You can have a full-on another meal. So fret not.
Yes. And notice it does say kids menus available, and adults sometimes, because the chicken tenders are really just that good. I might have ordered that for dinner one time before and not felt guilty, just saying.
Yes. It's your vacation. Be a kid. Yeah, so additional dietary restrictions. We know many of you have reported those. If you do have any updated dietary restrictions from when you booked, please send those to info@celiaccruise.com so we can pass those along to the ship. Obviously, the main dining room is where you're going to want to go, specifically day 1, as opposed to the Cafe Promenade that we just discussed, and Sorrento's. We will confirm when we do our pre-sale this weekend whether we do have dairy-free cheese. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We've had good luck the last 2 times. So those of you who are dairy-free, I will follow up and let you know. They always order it. It's just a matter of whether, supply chain, things like that come through. So we'll follow up and let you know about that. But obviously, with additional dietary restrictions, the main dining room will be your best bet on day 1. We encourage you, talk to your server. They're familiar. They know that, many of our guests have additional dietary things going on. And alternatives can be made with advance notice. I think a lot of times people don't know that they can ask, and you see the menu and you're just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just have this. But these chefs, they want to do everything they can. So please, please just ask, oh, is there any way you can make this dairy free? Can you make this? So just, I encourage you to ask, so we can do that, take care of that for you. And when in doubt, if you just don't feel this is, we want you to self-advocate. Obviously, we know that entire dining room is gluten-free. That you don't have to worry about, that you don't have to talk about. But additional things, if you just feel like you want to have an extra check there, feel free to ask to speak with a chef, and they're more than happy to send someone out to just confirm some questions. So yes.
So, wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
so here's just the general. So this is one of those mini guides that I told you you will be receiving tomorrow. So don't feel like you need to screenshot it or take a picture of it. If you want to, you can, but you will have your very own copy of it in your emails tomorrow that you can save. So just so you know all of your different options throughout the course of the week. So yeah, breakfast we have in the main dining room, which is deck 5, always deck 5. So that's where, these 3 deck dining rooms. I think I have a photo later on in here so you can kind of see how it looks, because each individual dining room has its own galley. So that's how we getting into the safety stuff already, but that's just how this all kind of operates. So main dining room, deck 5 is where we're going. On the Windjammer, so that's on deck 11, we will have a dedicated gluten-free line that will be coming from our deck 5 galley. So all of that food will be prepared in deck 5 and transported through back secret elevators and these trolleys that they have that they cover up. So know that is, they take great safety and security as we're making sure that that gets up there just in transport safely. We will be making sure that no one goes in that line without a clean plate to ensure, again, we have no cross-contact issues. But that is, the Windjammer is more of your quick service type place. So if you don't want to necessarily have to do the sit down breakfast or lunch, that will be the Windjammer is available for breakfast and lunch throughout the week. So then we'll talk about there's lunch. So again, the same thing, main dining room and the Windjammer. Sorrento's, you have your pizza option, which I encourage you to try. They're really, really amazing. And they're open until like 3 a.m. too. So, should that be your vacation pattern, just know you have much flexibility as to when you want to get your pizzas. And then the Cafe Promenade, again, the sandwich options, similar to what we discussed, those are made, packaged, wrapped in a container, and then transported again via this trolley to deck, it's actually still on deck 5, but to Cafe Promenade, and that they will be stored in the back in a safe area. You will see they'll have a display only section. And I say this just because we just came off of Symphony of the Seas. And while you'll see, there's a beautiful gluten-free sandwich there, but it's right next to something else. That is not what they're serving you. That is for display only. So just know that those sandwiches, again, are packaged, made, packaged, and stored in a safe, independent, dedicated space for us. So they are celiac safe. For dinner, main dining room, deck 5. So Windjammer is not available for dinner. That's just for breakfast and lunch. But fret not, you have 10 to 11 Windjammer, and I may or may not be sharing those themes later on in the presentation, so you'll have a good idea of what may be coming if you pay attention to our social media channels throughout the week. So yes, that is just an overview of the week. We have soft serve ice cream also available on the pool deck. We bring on gluten-free cones for all of our cruises. So long gone are the days of having to go get a cup. You will have a nice gluten-free ice cream cone, and all of those individuals are trained to ensure, again, there's no issues. The individuals being the Royal Caribbean crew who actually serve the ice cream cones. So there's no one touching it. It's only staff members, but we spend a good 15, 20 minutes going through all those details. They change gloves. So know those boxes are checked too. But in case you want an ice cream cone, which I encourage you to try, they're there.
Yes. And one of the things on here in the middle is alcoholic beverages. So we'll be sailing on Friday to check everything out with the Celiac Disease Foundation. They're going to vet all the ingredients, vet all the mixers. The past cruises, all the mixers have been great, except for the gluten-containing beer, the twisted tea, which is a malt beverage, and then there was like an espresso that had Guinness. But other than that, all the mixers are gluten-free unless you hear differently. But the Celiac Disease Foundation will vet all that for us and let us know if there's any changes. So CocoCay. CocoCay is the perfect day at CocoCay. It's a Royal Caribbean's private island. They spent like $400 million on this island, and it's truly incredible. It's a client favorite because it's just free. So many things on the island are free. So many parts. They do have a thrill water park that you can pay for. They have some excursions that you can pay for, but the lunch is free. The chairs are free. The largest freshwater swimming pool in this Caribbean is free. There's all kinds of fun things that are free on the island. And to make it even more special, we have a dedicated area on the CocoCay Island called Skipper's Grill. It's one half of the grill is for Celiac Cruise. Anybody that's gluten-free can come, and it's only on our sailing. So there's a map there. We'll have larger maps at the expo when you check in. We're going to send you this map in your email tomorrow. The bottom middle picture is look for the gluten-free and Celiac Cruise flags and signs. If you see us, because all of our staff will be there at Skipper's Grill from 11:30 to 1:30 on CocoCay Day. If you don't see us, you're at the wrong place. So look for our staff, look for our shirts, look for our flags, and then you'll know. And everything there is labeled too. Everything on our side of Skipper's Grill is also gluten-free. That day, also, if you want to have something that's dedicated, gluten-free, Captain Jack's is the cool, laid back, chill guitar player. It reminds me of Jimmy Buffett, and they have a great bar and a great wings and chicken wings and French fries. And normally they are not gluten-free, but for our day at CocoCay, they empty everything, clean everything, new oil, everything is dedicated gluten-free, and the wings are gluten-free. You do have to purchase it, but it's a very minor cost, but definitely worth it. And we even have an ice cream cone serving machine at our special line at CocoCay. So people ask me all the time, what's included in the cruise? So of course, your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night snacks, but also iced tea, ice water, regular and decaf coffee, juice, and milk. What's not included is bottled water, specialty coffees, Starbucks, sodas, and alcohol, including beer and wine. Wow, Maureen, you want to say a little word about the blue can there?
Well, many of you I know who, were wondering and watching us release this brand new beer that just was released actually last week on the Symphony of the Seas will be excited to know that Sea Day will also be on Freedom of the Seas. So
Yay.
many of, we've had Holiday on board since essentially the beginning, and their beers are, those of you who have not tried them, I encourage you to if you are a beer drinker. But we thought we needed a vacation-like beer, something a little lighter, something a little bit, something you may, without a significant ABV. So maybe if you need to have more than one or two, if that's your thing, again, not encouraging any of these things, but it's just a bit of a lighter beverage. And what better name for it, we thought, was what do you do on a sea day? Sometimes have beverages, but also I want all of you to kind of take note now of how the image looks, and it might remind you of something that you see when you walk into the elevators on the Royal Caribbean ships, because they always remind you what day of the week it is. And we wanted to give a little tribute to the owners, Karen and Jake of Holiday from a pretty funny story back in the day of being confused by elevators. And so that is Celiac Cruise's little tribute to that. So we hope you, if you are 21 and older, encourage you to try a sea day when you're on board. I think you will enjoy them. So yes, they will be on board, and we'll be tasting them at boarding day too.
Yeah, tasting a little taste at boarding day, but then also they're available if you get the drink package. They're inside the drink package, so they're included. If you don't get the drink package, it's $7.49 plus gratuity or something. It's a great price. And you can just buy drinks, bottled water, specialty coffees, all of these you can buy the beverage, or you can get an unlimited beverage package, and all that's through royalcaribbean.com. And all of that closes about 3 days before we sail. So get all of that now if you decide you want to. So here's some of the features of the Freedom of the Seas. Of course, the gluten-free food, but there is a flow rider you can see on the back of the ship. It's a surfing simulator. So imagine surfing on a cruise in the middle of the ocean. It's really incredible. And if you aren't a surfer like me, you can still go back there and watch. There's some stands that you can sit and watch, and those are so much fun. There is a perfect storm, which is the water slides you can see there in the photo. There's laser tag and miniature golf, which are both available. There is an escape room with a cost, but the escape room is a fun thing to do if you're into that. Rock climbing wall is available. You just need to bring socks and shoes. Ice skating is available. You just need to bring pants and socks because they provide the skates. So during the day, they have free ice skating events where you can just go down and ice skate if you're into that. So imagine ice skating on an ice rink in the middle of the ocean. It's really incredible. Or at night they have shows. So there's ice skating shows by professional ice skaters that are, Olympic standard skaters, and they do some amazing tricks on the ice. So the ice show is a lot of fun, as well as the free skate. They do have Broadway type big theater shows. There's lots of pools and lounges and music areas. There is an adventure ocean area for the kiddos that's free for kids 3 and up who are potty trained. And then they even offer babysitting services if the kids are under 3 or not potty trained by the hour that you can sign up for ahead of time. There's lots of shopping, and there might even be some sales. And then, of course, if you like to play, the casinos take lots of deposits. I have heard of some people winning some fun things, but there's so much to do, and it never ends. And you'll get a daily planner in your cabin, or you can get one at the guest services, or nowadays they've gone green. So there's a QR code that you can scan to get the planner, but all of it is going to be in that app that I told you. We suggest that you go ahead and download, because if something changes, they can upload the app immediately. So lots of things to do on the Freedom of the Seas.
Okay, so how do we do this? Well, number 25, which again, I feel like that's a milestone we probably should have put on a shirt in hindsight, but I mean,
Yeah.
25, pretty big celebration. So we'll find something special to do, knowing us. But so we will all be boarding the ship. We've already sailed on Freedom of the Seas to do the overall kind of inspection of how the venues work. So many years ago, when this all began, we walked through with food and beverage teams, corporate and on the ship, with floor plans, not floor plans, I guess they're blueprints, regardless of whatever they're called on a cruise ship, walking through, kind of looking and seeing what venues could be safely executed for our needs as it relates to, shared galleys, dedicated space, things like that. So that there is kind of the behind the scenes of why we're only able to use certain ships. So for instance, as I said earlier, Deck 3, Deck 4, and Deck 5 all have their own main dining room. So they're stacked on top of each other, but essentially they each have their own individual galley or a kitchen, cruise speak, that is all stainless steel too. So that's another reason why cruising works for us. As many of you may know, just that general food safety on a cruise is higher than many other venues would be. They are boarded at any given time by USPH with all types of flashlights and things like that. So the safety protocols of cruise ships as it relates to food safety is already, they're already on their toes with that. But what we will be doing on Friday, we will be boarding the ship and doing kind of a repeat site inspection. We will be joined by the Celiac Disease Foundation, who will be joining me, and we will be doing all of the trainings. We'll be training all of the food and beverage teams, the kids clubs, the beverage teams, guest services. Essentially, any person who comes in contact with our guests will be trained on celiac disease and the whys and the safety of it and what they need to do. And I guess just a better understanding of why this is so important. And this is not a choice. We are not all here eating gluten-free because we chose we wanted to, for the most part. So I think it's important that we will be, going through all of that. We also review every menu, and every single ingredient is vetted. We are down underwater where they store all of the goods, and every label is read and coinciding with the actual menu. So we're seeing what ingredients are going in each food, each menu item. So all of those labels are read and reviewed, from all the things that, every single detail of that. So then we also go through and read all the labels and check for all of the beverages to confirm, like down to the cherries, down to the pickles, down to, the Bloody Mary mixes. All those things will be, again, reviewed. Even though, yes, a lot of times they do use the same vendors, we do not take any chances, and every single detail is checked and checked again. And then we will do, again, a gluten-free galley review and inspection immediately prior to our guests joining, to ensure one more time we've walked through to, they have signs up all over the place. It's one of the most refreshing things that, I think everybody else can agree, seeing gluten-free only, no gluten entering this venue and things like that. So there's signs put in place, and, the level of detail that they go to, new uniforms. If anyone else was in a gluten containing area prior to, they're sent back to their cabin to change uniforms. That is the level of safety that Royal Caribbean goes to. Actually, all of our partners go to, but they really, really take this very, very seriously. Sometimes almost to a point, they're a little overdo it. Sometimes some of you who are wearing, you're supporting someone who is gluten-free, but are able to eat gluten, and you have a wristband on, you will be denied getting something. But we do try and push that in our training, that, again, if you're an adult and you are just joining someone who is gluten-free and you're outside of our dining venues, that you're able to do what you choose to. So know that we're sending that message home, but sometimes they just get so nervous but we'd rather them be nervous than the opposite. So know you're in very good hands, and we will be posting, if you're on social media, in our Facebook group, just kind of the details of the weekend of our site inspection and, the training cruise. So.
And one of the things that we hear so often is that how people feel so welcomed. Our guests feel so welcomed on board. We're not a problem. They don't look at us as, oh Lord, here's another, person with allergies. We have people who request to work on our cruises. Like some of the chefs, the traveling chefs, they're so excited when they find out they get to come work on one of our celiac cruises. So they really embrace this group, and will embrace all of you, and you're just going to love it. When Maureen and I first started this, we wanted to always give back. And one of the ways we do that is through the Celiac Disease Foundation. We do events on board, and all of the funds that we raise go to support families that can't afford gluten-free food. So it's called our Food Insecurity Program. It's Cruising for a Cause. And we have lots of events on board this short cruise. Tomorrow you'll get an email with a link to the Celiac Disease Foundation's website. And there you can sign up for all of these events that you want to. And remember, they're all for a good cause. So there's going to be a holiday beer flight and tasting on day 2, where you'll get to try some of the beers that aren't available for sale on board the ship. So that's nice. We're also going to have a silent disco, a private event with silent auction on day 2. So that's a ticketed event. All of these things cost, but remember, it's for a good cause. The silent disco, if you haven't ever done that, it's really cool. You put the headphones on and you go in the room, and there's two or three different channels, and everybody will be dancing around, and it's quiet, but in the headphones it's very loud, and or you can turn the volume down or whatever, but it's fun. It's a really fun event. And then we'll have some fun prizes for you to bid on to raise even more money for the Celiac Disease Foundation. We also have a mini golf tournament that you can sign up for, and this is the Howie Memorial Miniature Golf Tournament. Howie was one of our really special celiac disease guests and loved this event. So we have named it his forever, and it's a great cause and fun. And then the biggest event that we do, that we have hundreds of people come on, and we hope that all of you will join us, is on CocoCay Family Fun Walk. So at 7 a.m. we'll meet at a location in the on deck 5. Anyway, we'll meet. I don't know the exact location. It'll be in the email tomorrow. And they will escort us off the ship. So when we get into CocoCay that day, there'll be two ships there. And regardless of which one gets in first, our CocoCay walk folks get off first. So they'll come and collect us all in the meeting space. They'll escort us off the ship and onto CocoCay. We'll make a quick photo, and then we will head around the walk for 2 laps real quick. And then when the walk is over, you can stay on the island and put your stuff down and get the very best spot by the pool or by the beach or wherever you want to be. And if you want to go back to the ship, you can, to get breakfast, or you can just stay out there and wait until the lunch opens at 11:30. But either way, you're the first one on the ship. And with 2 ships on the island, it's going to get, crowded. There's plenty of space for everyone, but why not get the best seats in the house and also support something really great? So the link will be registered. The link to register will be in the email. So feel free to sign up for all of them. We hope that every one of them sells out, because like I said, this every bit goes to food insecurity, and these events are sponsored by both Wow Bakery and Canyon Bakehouse, so, and Holidaily, of course. So please join us on these. We would love to see you there.
And from the beginning, also, it's been very, very important to me. I mean, I remember the beginning of my journey when I found out the news about Peter's diagnosis, and the beauty of social media, all the wonderful things I've learned, but then all of the misconceptions and the fear that I moved forward with, wondering what was next and how was I going to navigate this. So it's been an important part for Celiac Cruise from the beginning to provide you some information on how to better live this life we all have come to know. And again, it's your vacation. There is no requirement to come or attend these events. Our guests have asked for more of them. So should it work with your schedule, we encourage you to come. I think you'll probably feel a little bit better about things coming down the pike as it relates to celiac disease. And so I encourage you to, come join us in the Royal Theater on day 2, which is, the second day, and will be, I guess it's just our first C day. So come join us. So Megan Donnelly from the Celiac Disease Foundation will be joining us, and she's going to do a presentation on charting the course, how to make a difference in the celiac community, and also some updates on research and clinical trials and all of the potentially very exciting things that could be coming down the pike as it relates to celiac treatments. And then also, we are very, very excited that Gluten-Free and More magazine will be joining us on board. They have an amazing team that's coming with us finally on this cruise, and they're going to be doing a cooking demonstration. I'm not going to share all the details yet because I want to entice you all a bit, but I would encourage you not to miss this and make sure you come find these amazing, amazing human beings because not only do they produce the most beautiful magazine with these incredible recipes, but they're also some of the greatest people I have come to know in the celiac community. So make sure you stop them, say hello. They'll be at the expo as well, but they'll also be doing a cooking demo on RC Day. And
I just want to make note here, day 2 is actually Tuesday. it is July 29th, but we actually board on Monday. So Monday's the 28th when we all board. So you're probably all flying into Miami on or Fort Lauderdale on Sunday. We all board on Monday, the 28th, but this is day 2, which just the only typo is Tuesday. Here again, we're human. We just want to make sure that you know that it's Tuesday, which is the full sea day. And it's going to be a great event, like she said, but you can register for that when we send out the email. Okay, cruising 101. I guess the main thing is day 1 is look at that beautiful dining room, Maureen. Wow, just wow. Day 1 is just patience, patience, patience. We want to let you know that if you can get through day 1, the rest of the week is easy, right? So just there might be some lines, you might have to wait on the elevator, but just take my word for it. After day 1, things will settle down and it'll be a lot easier. So in the drink package, we already talked about how Holidaily is included if you purchase the unlimited alcohol package, or you can buy the drink, just like you can buy a soda or a Starbucks. There is Royal Caribbean sells dining packages for their specialty restaurants. We do not encourage that because we have our dedicated gluten-free food on deck 5 of the dining room. So that's where our dedicated venue will be. They also offer a program called the Key, which you pay like $30 per person per day for. And what that gives you is a sit down regular lunch in a different place, but you already have a beautiful sit down gluten-free lunch in the dining room. So why pay $30 per person per day for something that's not even gluten-free when ours is? And so you can come to deck 5 dining room, show your lunch ticket for free, and enter and have a beautiful, amazing first day lunch. So that's really a key, an amazing key. Some of the shows may or may not have registration process. And if the show's sold out, then just go, there's a standby line, and 15 minutes before the show, they open it to anyone. So don't worry about, booking shows online, just go. In the ports of call, like Nassau is our only port of call where we don't have gluten-free food available from us. We suggest that you eat either before your excursion or after, because there's just no way for us to vet the gluten-free ingredients in any excursion, even if it's an excursion that doesn't include food. There's just no way for us to vet it. So we just ask you to, you'll get a couple of gluten-free bars in your goodie bag when you check in, but we just ask you to use caution or just plan to eat before or after. So we'll have breakfast before and lunch after, and then an early dinner and late night snacks all on Nassau Day. So motion sickness, I doubt that anybody will feel it. It's a big ship, but if you do, there's some little patches you can get from your doctor. There are some gluten-free motion sickness pills at the front desk that they can give you, and we check them every time to make sure they're still gluten-free, even though they have been for 24 different cruises. We will check again on number 25 and make sure. And so I wouldn't worry about it. There's also some bands that you can get that are pressure points. They sell those at Walgreens and things like that. But it's a pretty big ship, and this is the summer, so the likelihood of there being, winds and high seas is pretty low. But embarkation and disembarkation, when you get to the pier, we'll talk about getting on. When you get to the pier, you'll want to make sure you keep your passport with you, or your birth certificate if you're a US citizen and don't have a passport with you, so that you can come on board. And then once you're on board, come and do your muster station, then come and have lunch with us. For disembarkation, they will send you a note in your cabin a couple of days before. But you can either get off one of 2 ways. You can self-assist, which means that you don't put any luggage out. You keep it all in your cabin. And then the morning that you get ready to leave, you just roll all your luggage off the ship and take it with you. And you're one of the first ones to leave the ship. If you want, you can put your luggage out the night before, and they'll give you a tag to put on it. And then they'll take your luggage and you can collect it in the in the terminal once you get off the ship. Anytime you get on or off the ship, you use your room key card to ding out and ding back in. So you will need everyone, even small kids, even infants, need their own room key card, which has your name on it and is attached to your photo. And every time you go on or off the ship, you need that. So that's good to know. Did I skip anything on embarkation or disembarkation, Maureen?
I don't think so. I think, and some of the questions that are coming in have been relating to this too. So to some of these things, but we'll go through it.
Okay.
So.
All right. I'll go through the theme nights and then you guys can talk about late night snacks. So our theme nights, as of now, because the app keeps changing, but it looks like that the first night is going to be casual. The second night is white night. So anything like white, if you want to participate, you don't have to. You can wear green that night if you want, but if you want to be white night, that's the night to do it. Third day is casual and the fourth day is Caribbean. So Caribbean is fun because the servers and all the staff get to wear their own shirts that day too. They get to pick their own shirts and wear whatever they want. And there's some pretty cool looking Caribbean shirts out there. So feel free to dress up or not with these theme nights, but that's what the ship is showing right now.
All right. Late night snacks. Many of you asked. I know you're all looking at day 2. Yes, day 2, Viva Mexico, but we'll not skip all that. So day 1 is going to be more of an American theme. So there'll be, again, not just dessert. So I think a lot of times people think, because that's what you see online and on Instagram and such, we have sandwiches, salads, pastas, burgers, hot dogs, French fries, nachos the size of an entire table. So there are plenty of options. So it's not only a dessert only thing. Yes, there are some desserts. There are some desserts that you should be pretty excited about on day 2, actually all 4 days. So the day 1, first day will be an American theme. There may or may not be I don't know, brownie sundae bar. Day 2, Viva Mexico. I'm not saying anything else. Many of you can go to Instagram and look and see. There's a dessert that has gotten people pretty excited. Yes, they will be there. Day 3, donuts and delights. So it's right there in the name. But again, it's not only donuts. There's plenty of other things. And then the final night is Caribbean bites. So just kind of nodding our final day at sea, sailing away, sailing back to Miami, and the Caribbean theme of the ship that night.
So we covered some of this before, but the kids clubs, the slides, the rock climbing wall, the ice skating, the flow rider, entertainment, everything, all of that is included. What's not included are spa treatments, Wi-Fi, specialty restaurants, which we don't recommend anyway, the Key program, which you don't need because you have a delicious gluten-free meal when you get on board anyway, laser tag, the escape room, any kind of shopping that you do or any kind of souvenirs or anything that you might do in Nassau, like if you did an excursion. But it's pretty much all included with your, other than that, with all your meals and entertainment all over the ship. So it's a great value.
So again, just the guides that will be coming your way. So you know that you will have an onboard dining guide that looked just like that was in a slide earlier. The bottom left is the day-by-day guide that will have all of our events, inclusive of meal times and late night snacks and, some kids events, some teen events. We have evening hangouts for in venues, lounges, bars, things like that for adults. So we really, really try and find a time that everybody can have some time to, hang out outside of our meals, which happens a lot for 4 meals of the day, but still there's more time in the day. So you'll be receiving this. And again, like I said, a Miami and Fort Lauderdale dining guide of local venues.
And one of the things that's on the itinerary that you'll see when you get it is we do have a couple of meetups for tweens and teens on night 1 so that everybody can get to know each other. And our events are right before some of Royal Caribbean's events and at the same location. So we'll have everyone meet up and get to know each other. And then the kids can go do the events that Royal Caribbean already has to offer. So we thought that was the best way for us to get everybody to know each other on the first day. So we have a tween event, we have a kid event that's family. We ask parents to be there. We have a teen event, which is, run by Royal Caribbean after we do. And then we also have an adult meetup so we can all say hello to each other. So you'll see those intermixed into itinerary, but we just wanted to talk about that because we feel like the community part is very important. So it's time for questions and answers. Like Maureen said at the beginning of the webinar, if you're watching this on a recording, because we're going to email it out to everyone, and you still have a question, just email us at info@celiaccruise.com. But it looks like we have a lot of questions.
Well, there are some, I tried to kind of sort, there are a lot of questions that everybody has kind of the same one. So, which we'll go through all these. Some are going to be all you, Connie. So is there a
Okay.
safe big enough to put 1 to 2 laptops in the room?
Is
Stump
what?
Connie. It's
Sorry.
Stump Connie.
Is it what now?
Laptops. Is the safe big enough to put 1 to 2 laptops in the room?
No, I wouldn't think that the safe would hold a laptop. It holds like a small purse and a wallet, something like that, but not a laptop. I personally leave mine out all the time and nothing ever happens, but it's not big enough for a laptop.
The only boarding time open for us was 2 to 2:30. They don't check anymore. Can we just review that? Because there are a few
Yes.
questions about that.
So there's probably lots of questions about boarding time. So remember, do not worry. Just choose a boarding time. And when you get there, as soon as they can get the line going, they're going to let everybody on. Our lunch is from 11:30 to 1:30, main dining room, deck 5. So when you get on board, if it's closer to that 1 to 1:30 time, just go straight to eat first. But if you get on early at 11, 11:15, 11:30, whenever you get on, go ahead and do your muster station and then come to eat. So don't worry about your time. Try to get to the pier no later than 11:30 or 12.
What do we do with our bags between boarding and when the cabins open?
Yes. So when you get there, you're going to pull up to the porters and drop your luggage off. So that's why we suggested that you print your luggage tags. If you don't have a printer or you don't get boarding luggage tags, don't worry about it because the porters will have some. So you'll give him or her your luggage with your luggage tag cabin number on it, and then it'll magically show up in your cabin, at 5 or 6 o'clock that evening. Your carry-on should contain any medications as well as your passport or your citizenship papers if you're bringing your birth certificate for U.S. citizens. But your main big bags go with the porter, and so you just bring that with you as you walk around the ship, your carry-on bag.
And you do not need to have a luggage tag with that. I mean, I would personally have, I always have something that says my information on it, but there's nothing required by Royal Caribbean to have, your cabin number on your day bags.
And just about luggage, I get a lot of questions about how many pieces can I bring. So, bring as many as you need, but don't overpack because it's a 4-night cruise and it's going to be so relaxing once you get there and so much fun that you don't need 7 outfits. Yeah, and so I would say, pack light and try not to overpack if you can.
Next question. I think this will be me. Will all allergens be listed for items? Royal Caribbean obviously has done some amazing different things for us as it relates to their gluten-free legal things. But all allergens, additional allergens, they really, really want you to self-advocate. So they will not be listed on the menus. So that is why they want you to come and ask and self-identify because, again, our menu obviously is all gluten-free, so there will be no gluten-free labels, know that. But any additional allergens will not be identified on the menu, and you will have to self-advocate and just identify what additional allergens you have. And that's when they will kind of start a chain of command as it relates to server to chef. and things like that. And that is their safety protocols. That's how they handle allergens. So, other than the gluten thing, that we worked real hard for them to kind of make some modifications because we wanted everyone to, again, not have to think about gluten in our dining room because it is all gluten-free. Additional allergens, they do want you to discuss with a server or discuss with a chef when you're in the Windjammer, as those will not be labeled. Can my non-celiac family use the regular line at Windjammer, or do they have to use the gluten-free line because they are with our group? Good question.
Yes, that's a great question. At night, when we're doing late night snacks, it's only for us. It's a private event, and the late night snacks is 100% dedicated gluten-free. So late night snacks, they're going to be able to come with you and enjoy everything. For breakfast and lunch, you can go through the dedicated line, and then they can go anywhere they want. Just please know that if you are celiac and you are gluten-free, please look for our signs. Please look for our flag. Please look for our staff, because there's only one section of the Windjammer that has a gluten-free section where we will be. So look for us if you're looking for the Celiac Cruise gluten-free area, but your non-celiac family members can eat on the other side if they want.
Yes. And, again, back to what I had said earlier, exercise patience with some of these crew members. If they do ask, are you sure you can eat that? Again, that's just them wanting to be super, super cautious. So yes, but if you do not require to be gluten-free, and you're wearing your wristband outside of our dedicated venues, obviously in our dining room, there is no gluten, and that is inclusive of beers. So we do have, the Holiday beer available, but we ask if you are consuming a gluten-containing beer that be consumed only outside of our dedicated venues, and that goes for late night snacks as well. So, but gluten can be whatever you choose to do with gluten outside of the dining room and our dedicated venues is fine, but just know they may ask, just confirming. So, and that's because they just are so cautious, which again, we appreciate. Any information on transportation options from hotels to the port?
The best option would be Uber or Lyft, unless don't have those apps and you just want to grab a cab. But honestly, Uber or Lyft are the least expensive. You can pre-order those too. It's pretty easy to get a cab from a hotel to the port. So
what time at night can we get ice cream at the pool deck?
So,
That's a great question. It
yeah.
varies. I will tell you to check the app. Normally it is posted in there, what the ice cream hours are. I think generally
Like
it really
noon,
varies.
noon on, I think is when I see them setting it up, and it's not really open at night. I think they close about 7 or 8, don't they? But we can check.
Yes, and just know, all of those specific hours are listed in the app, and then they also usually have a sign right by the ice cream machines, what their hours are throughout the week. So, but know that we'll have plenty of ice cream up in our late night snacks too, if you really want, some ice cream at night. We have this question a few times. So those of you who asked it, I'll try and cover it all in one here. Are we allowed to bring packaged food onto the ship? And do you have information on safe food options for Royal Caribbean offsite excursions? We always want to say yes. We want to say yes to all of these things, but usually if there's a reason we can't say yes, it's a law, a rule, or we don't feel safe. So, as it relates to bringing food off of the ship, they sometimes check, they sometimes don't. So, obviously we have had guests many a times pack things and take them and not have issues. There are times that they do have dogs out there that they don't want you bringing foods because of agricultural laws. Obviously we would hate for one of our guests to get in trouble, but many times, people are willing to risk it and there's been no issues. So I think there's kind of this line that we have to be, safe here and not encourage you to do something that we have read that you're not supposed to do, but have also seen many times it's not a problem. And I also understand the desperation of making sure you have something if you're doing a long excursion. We will have lunch served on the ship, Nassau Day, in both venues. Prepackaged foods. We'll be giving out factory sealed prepackaged foods. We'll be giving you bars at check-in. Obviously what we usually travel with, jerkies, things like that. That's what, kind of help get us through when it's, some time between meals. But the reason why you cannot take that off, and I'm saying it reading between the lines here, is sometimes there are agricultural laws in these ports of call. Nassau gluten-free options. I have yet to find something that I feel safe putting a Celiac Cruise logo any place close to from a dedicated standpoint. Obviously, we all know what is naturally gluten-free. There are certain resorts nearby that I have heard people come back. We were just there last week, and people have come back and said, "Oh, I found this great lobster tail and corn." Of course, no issue, but we ask you to, just exercise caution and, utilize what you traditionally do at home in restaurants. And, we want to just make sure the ship is working so hard to keep us safe that we wouldn't have a gluten exposure out in these ports. So as you know, you're all set at CocoCay. We've got lunch for you on the island. So that's one box you can check and not have to worry about. Okay, we talked about boarding times already. When can we sign up to watch the shows? Is that through the app? There's a few questions here. So I guess I don't know if we confirmed.
Yep. So if the shows require a reservation, it'll be in your app, or you can just add it to your calendar. So either way, it's through the app. So some shows require a pre-reservation. It's free, but you still have to reserve it, and some don't. So this may be one of those sailings that they've decided that they don't need it for. So all of that would be in the app.
And I've found that the shows are very flexible, even if, they open up seating the last 15 minutes to people. And I've never not been able to get a seat for these shows. So, again, I wouldn't stress about it too much. Will we need any cash for Nassau, like for shopping in the markets? Is it US dollars?
They love US dollars, so you don't need to get any kind of currency. US dollars are fine, and there is a straw market right off the port, which is great. There's actually one in the port now, but they've completely redone the Bahamas port, so a lot there. And then on CocoCay, there's lots of little CocoCay exclusive merchandise that they offer, and that you put on your room key card so that you can charge back to the ship.
For late night snacks, are we able to take food to go if one parent wants to grab some food, but other parent has to stay in the room? Yes, you can. 100% not an issue. You can do that at the Windjammer. I mean, usually what we have advised people to do is grab another plate and just cover it up. So again, you're making it as safe as possible as you wander through, just for safe health protocols and such. So I would just cover it up with another plate, but there's no problem taking food out like that from the buffet.
Even at breakfast, because we don't
Yes.
encourage room service. So, if you want to grab food up there and take it back to the cabin, that's great for breakfast too.
Debating the beverage package.
So the beverage package, it's cost about $70 to $80 per person per day plus gratuities. So you would probably need to drink 8 drinks to make it even. A lot of people like to go ahead and purchase the drink package so they don't have any surprise bills. Some people don't want to get the package, and then at the end they ended up drinking more than they thought they would. The drink package does work on CocoCay as well as their Wi-Fi package. And their Wi-Fi package is Starlink, so it works really well. But for the drink package, that's really just up to you. If you get their unlimited beverage package, it's bottled waters and specialty coffees, not Starbucks, but specialty coffees in the coffee shop that's not the Starbucks one, but it's cappuccinos and espressos and things like that, as well as, bottled waters, sodas. You get a soda fountain cup that you can refill, just a lot of things. About the Wi-Fi, while we're talking about those two things, the Wi-Fi is unlimited. It's not measured by megs or gigs. It's an unlimited package. It's fast. We suggest that when you get on the ship, you turn your phone on airplane mode and you either connect free to the Royal Caribbean app, or you pay to connect to Royal Caribbean's paid internet. And their paid internet, you can message people at home. You can do Facebook, you can email, you can call people on Wi-Fi calling. As long as your phone is on airplane mode and your cellular service is turned off, you can use their Wi-Fi for almost anything. So it's really fast and very reliable now.
And you can purchase that in the app. But if you're going to do it, make sure you do it prior to 72 hours of sale date, right?
Because it's cheaper if you do it ahead of time.
Yes, yes. Any limitations, restrictions on how much luggage? You seem like a friend of mine. Do cabins have mini fridges or microwaves in the
So
cabin?
there's no microwaves on a ship at all. So everything is fresh and, cooked with real kitchens and things. The ship's cabins have coolers to keep like water cold, but it's not a refrigerator to where it would be standards for food or milk or anything like that. So just know that it's a cooler, not a real refrigerator. If you require medication that has to be refrigerated, there's a special needs form that you can complete. And some ships have a portable fridge, and then some ships have you keep it at the guest services area, which is open 24/7. So
Yes, and there will be a link again in this email tomorrow that will have a special if you need even like CPAP, water, extension cords, things like that. We ask that you make that request, and again, you'll see it in a description. If you need any special additional medical items in your cabin, there'll be a link that you can click and make those requests in the email we send tomorrow.
and you don't need to request gluten-free meals because
No. We got that covered. No cruising, it's saying in the reservation, no cruising documents or the luggage tags are not available.
Usually about 4 to 5 days before they show up.
Yes. And again, it's a little tricky, and that's why, again, in this email I keep talking about, we'll have like a specific direction as to where to locate those. And many a times, worst case scenario, you go to the porter and you say, I'm in cabin 6412. I'm not really in that cabin. I'm just throwing it out there. But you say that and they write that down and your bags arrive. So if you forget, it's one of those things you're running out the door. Oh no, I didn't pack my luggage tags. Please, please don't stress about that. So you will get your luggage. Can we wear shorts and slippers for dinner times?
Not like bedroom slippers, but I think they really don't want bathing suit attire, at dinner. They want, people, it's like you're going out on the town, not necessarily, to a gala, but you're going out for a nice dinner. So yes, shorts are widely accepted now. But a cocktail dress or a sundress or, capris or, shorts even. It's really much more casual than it used to be, but it still is a nice restaurant and they are still taking such good care of us. So it's your vacation. You wear well, not whatever you want, but you can get dressed up as much as you want to.
In the dining hall, is there assigned seating or do we pick where we sit?
So the dining room is full. So that's why we've had a wait list for 4 months now. So thank goodness you booked when you did, because our dining room holds exactly a certain number of people because of the certain number of seats in the dining room. And if you booked, when you booked, if you told us that you wanted to sit with someone else, then we cross-referenced you for dining and you'll be hopefully sitting with them throughout the week. We send all of that to Royal Caribbean and somehow magically they assign all the tables. This dining room is full. You know how when you get on a flight and they say, we have a completely full flight today. Well, guess what? We have a completely full dining room. So you will sit at the same table with the same waiter and the same folks every night for dinner. And I have found some of the most rewarding times on a cruise ship, with the people that we've met on at our dinner table. And we keep hearing stories over and over and over from our guests that they love, sitting with their new friends that they met on the Celiac Cruise. So It's the same time, 5 o'clock, deck 5, every night at the same table. The first night they'll seat you and show you where your table is. But after that, the next nights you just come in and find your table number and sit down. And it'll be on your room key card that's outside your door when you get there. Each person has their own room key card, and that room key card has what table number you're at and deck 5 dining.
I missed the beginning. Is it too late to get insurance?
So you can get insurance as long as you don't need it. So I had a client one time who called me and they had just left the hospital because they fell and broke their leg and needed surgery. And they said, "Can I get insurance?" And the answer is no. You have to be fit for travel when you purchase the insurance. So as long as you're fit for travel, then you can purchase insurance now and it will cover you for the trip. So if you have any questions, just reach out to us and ask us for a new quote, and we can describe what would be covered and what pre-existing conditions would not be covered at this point. But you can still purchase insurance up to now, up until like 2 days before you go.
So I think question about the suitcases, when will they receive them? Suitcases on embarkation day.
Yep. So, going back to how many suitcases can I bring? If you're flying, then obviously you need to go by the airlines with how much you can bring or not. But if you're driving, you can bring whatever. The suitcases normally arrive anytime after 3 all the way up to dinner time. So I've had one show up as early as like 3:15 and one show up as late as like 6 o'clock. So it just depends on when they get all the luggage brought up to the cabins, and it'll be right outside your door.
Question about the cooking demos. When will that be? Is it a specific time or event, or is it
Yeah.
happening on its own?
Yes, so it's on day 2, which is the C day. We have one C day. So we get on Monday, and all day Tuesday is a C day. And we have a general session from 10 to 12 on the C day in the theater. So it's a private event just for us, where we're going to have Megan Donnelly from the Celiac Disease Foundation speak, as well as the cooking demonstration by Gluten-Free and More magazine. So both of those will be in that same event, and you can sign up for it with the link that we'll be sending you tomorrow. But it's complimentary, and it's from 10 to 12 on the C day, which is day 2, or also known as Tuesday.
Shall we leave passports on board for CocoCay?
Yes. So the passports can go in your safe if you want, and then you just leave them there. If you get off for Nassau, the adults will want to bring like a photo ID, like a driver's license, but you don't need your passport to come off with you anytime. Once you board with it, then you keep it with you until you get off.
Will you have specific Celiac Cruise stuffed animals for sale?
We do, and they're on the Facebook page already, and we'll make sure that a picture of that and the link is available for you to purchase in the email that goes out tomorrow. But if you're part of our Facebook page, we posted it today, and the link is already there, and we've already sold a few. So it is very limited edition. So if you're interested in a plush, grab that right away. If you're not part of the Facebook group yet, there'll be a link in the email tomorrow that comes from info@Celiac Cruise. So look for it. You should have gotten emails from us in the past. Well, you did, because you knew about this. So it'll come from the same place.
Is the room service included, and is it gluten-free?
We do not suggest room service because, it comes from a completely different galley. They move room service away from deck 5 just for Celiac Cruise. So they're taking it away just because there is gluten in room service typically. So we do not suggest that. Of course, you could order coffee, to your room, or you could always just go to the Windjammer, the buffet during the open times, grab food that you want and take it back to your cabin.
On the last day, some of our group have a Miami excursion quite early and some don't. Will this affect our disembarkation?
Yeah, so the ones that have the early disembarkation, their tickets will reflect that, and their luggage tag will too. If you have any questions, you can check with guest services on board. And if you decide to self-assist and take all your stuff off, you can get off anytime.
What's your favorite place to eat in Miami off your Oh dear. I'll post that in the Facebook group. There's going to be a few, but I think there's a place called Dora's. This is the woman I'm working with, and they're amazing. She's amazing. She's been so great to our guests before. So I would encourage Dora's, but there's such an awesome long list. You put me on the spot there. So I will, you know, and I think what happens is our fellow guests start going, I don't know when everyone's arriving. Some people are getting there Friday, but the Facebook group is also used for you all to communicate with everybody, with each other, and say, oh my gosh, I just went to X, Y, and Z in Miami. Don't miss it. So use it for that as well. But it's a great list. Miami has some wonderful options. So be sure to check them out. Should I keep medications and supplements in original bottles?
It's not necessary, if you have them and you want to bring them in there, that's fine. You do want to keep them separate though. You need to bring those on, any medications with you rather than packing them if it's something that is required, because you don't want to take any chances. You want to always keep that stuff with you.
Are the themes for just for dinner or for all day?
So the themes match the dinner, like on Caribbean night, but the white night, there's no theme for dinner. Each night has a different theme, but white night doesn't match any of the themes. It's just the dress code, and then our not dress code, but the suggested fun dress if you want to dress up. And then our late nights are definitely themed.
Can we just cover tips, gratuities, dining rooms, and things like that
Yes.
around the
Oh,
ship?
yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, um, gratuities are not included in your cruise unless you specifically emailed or called the travel agency and asked them to add them, and then you paid them, and then you got a confirmation from us showing that you paid your gratuities. So if you did not prepay your gratuities, no big deal. It's the same price. They're going to charge you on board every day per person, the same price that you would have prepaid. And it's something that is either you can prepay it or pay it on board, same price. And the gratuities go to cover your server, your assistant server, your cabin steward who cleans your room every day, and also for the windjammer staff who's going to prepare and be up there for our late night snacks. It also covers, several other people around the ship. So it's how they earn a living. It's a big portion of what they do, how they, send money back to feed their families back home. So we have found that a lot of people come up to us after the cruise and say, can I tip more? I know I paid $18 a day per passenger for this gratuities, but is it okay if I pay more? And the answer quite simply is yes. So if you want to bring some cash to hand to your server or assistant server or your cabin steward, feel free to do that.
How shall we make reservations for dinners?
You don't need any reservations for anything because we all eat at 5 o'clock on deck 5, and your table number will be already pre-assigned and it'll be on your room key card.
How about let's talk about the wine, bringing wine. So if someone asks, Royal Caribbean has the policy that you can bring 1 bottle of wine per person onto the ship. Are those bottles allowed to be brought to dinners, or do they need to stay out of our main dining room?
Luckily, all wine is gluten-free, and so yes, we do allow that. So 1 bottle per person, up to 2 bottles per cabin is their policy. And if you bring it to dinner, they will charge you a corkage fee potentially, and that's just to open and serve it. And you can bring that to dinner. If you consume it in your cabin, then there's no corkage fee. But I think it's like $15. So it is, if you want to bring your own, you can.
Will the cruise app work without the Wi-Fi package?
Yes. So you can either connect to the Royal Caribbean's internet on the free, or you can pay for Royal Caribbean's internet. And both of those, if you want to connect to just the free version, all you can do is the app and chat within the app. And if you want to do the paid version, then you can also use the app, but chat with everybody in the whole world and send emails and Facebook and all that too.
So you can only bring wine. Someone's asking about bringing wine and beer.
I believe it's wine and champagne only, but no beer is allowed to be brought on board.
Yes. Is there any recommendations on places to eat in Nassau? So I had mentioned that Not as of last weekend. Again, we had many, I think we had a number of guests who did. They found options, but again, nothing that we feel safe putting our name on as a dedicated or even somewhat positively reviewed, somewhat dedicated space. So, use our favorite apps and see what has people have recently done. I always tell people to make sure they review that, if they found a positive place in Nassau, but as it relates to our exploring and things like that, there is not any semi-dedicated or dedicated venues or venues. I keep saying venues, dining options there. Are there ATMs on the ship to get cash for the casino or for off-ship shopping?
So yes, there's an ATM machine. You can actually charge the gambling to your cabin if you want, and there is an ATM close by the casino where you can get cash out.
Okay. How early is coffee available in the morning and where?
I have never had anybody ask me that. That is a great question. I have never been up too early to where it wasn't there. So I don't know if it's 24 hours, but I know it's pretty darn early because coffee's available in the Promenade Cafe as soon as they open. So I would check the app to see what time Cafe Promenade opens.
Stump Connie, look at that. I like
I
it.
know. Great
Um,
question. You win a prize.
for the internet package, if we want two cell phones connected, will we have to do both people or one person and two devices?
Either way, one person with two devices or two separate accounts. But in order for both cell phones to be connected at all times, you would need either one person buys two or two people buy one each. If you don't need to be on at the same time, you can share the Wi-Fi code. So one would log out, one would log in, and you could do it that way. But then you wouldn't be able to talk to each other. So it depends on what you're looking for.
Gluten-free candy. Will there be gluten-free candy? Like I said, that will be checked and reviewed through this weekend. There is an area that sells candy, but we will check and make sure. Usually they have Jelly Bellies and things like that. But we will share with the candy shop people what list is gluten-free and not, so you can ask them at the, if you're shopping in the candy store and, want to know what list is, we will go through that when we are on board this weekend. Okay. Is it too late to change the shirt size you ordered?
So we may have a couple of extra shirts if you ordered the wrong size and you would like to switch those out. Just see us at the expo. The expo is going to be from 1:30 to 4 p.m. where the ice skating rink is. It's called Studio B. We're eating lunch on deck 5. You just go down 2 decks and walk through the photo gallery and you'll see our expo from 1:30 to 3. If 1:30 to 4. If we have any extra shirts and you need a certain size that we have, we'll be happy to switch it out.
Will the people in the same cabin be seated together, or how is seating done?
Everybody in the same cabin is seated together. If you asked, let's say several families are traveling together or, whatever, then, or a family of two is traveling with another family of two, and you told us that, or your, kids sharing connecting rooms, we know that. So those will all be at the same table.
Can you buy the Wi-Fi package and drink package after you board the ship, or does it have to be ahead of time?
You can, but they both cost a lot more on board. So you do get a pre-cruise discount on both of those. So if you're interested in getting them, I would suggest doing that. On board, you can buy, I believe, 1 day at a time. So, you might only need it for the sea day. I don't know. It's just a thought. But the unlimited package is sold ahead of time. You can't buy just a day of the drinks, though, by the way. That was just for Wi-Fi.
This might be a stump Connie. If you need more than one Freddy the Frog, do you need to do more than one transaction?
Yes, you do. Unfortunately, the system that we use is just each one. You just have to click it twice and pay twice. Sorry about that. We'll get more sophisticated after we get through cruise number 27 this year when the end of the cruise year ends.
Are we allowed to bring wine openers?
Yes.
That's a yes. I've had one in my bag. No one's ever said anything about it, you know. Did you say there's a Facebook group specific for this cruise or just the general celiac cruise? There is a group specific for Freedom of the Seas. So we will put that again in that email link to, or the email tomorrow with a direct link to join the Facebook group. You can search usually Celiac Cruise Freedom of the Seas. It should pop up. And as long as you are registered as a passenger, if your name, your Facebook name is different than your, you know, the name we have as you're booked under, just let us know in the comments there, or send us an email, info@celiaccruise.com. If you can't find the Facebook group, I'm happy to send you a direct link. So to make it easier. Where do I go to buy the stuffy? Sounds like a cute keepsake.
Facebook and in the email tomorrow. Yes.
So, all right, that's everything. Good questions. Good questions. All right. Well, thank you all so, so much. And again, if you have additional questions, many of you, I'm sure, will think of them after the fact. Please, please, please email us and we will do our best to answer them. You know, we know this is a big deal. We know, you know, trusting people with your health is a big deal. And we thank you for doing that. I think you will be very, very pleased. The ship is excited for us. They're ready. They've already had a bunch of meetings. We've had a bunch of calls, so they are ready for us. And I think it's going to be an amazing week. So we cannot wait to meet you all in person very soon. Yeah, but reach out with any questions because we know the traveling and all of these things can be a little nerve-wracking. So just feel free to ask if we can help any way we can. Oh, hold on, two more just popped up. Let me
Oh,
see.
goodness.
Oh, wow, the best. I don't know about the best, but thank you. Appreciate that. And thank you all so much again for being here.
And remember, this is being recorded, so you'll all get a copy of this so you can watch it again and again. Just kidding. But you might have some questions you want to refer back to. And we'll send it to everybody who missed it as well. Everyone who is on our on this cruise will get a copy of it. So,
All right. Everybody have a great evening, and we will see you in a week.